I'd like to give you a quick demo of how to set up your discovery methods and where to go to do that. So let's go ahead and take a look in the console. Go ahead and bring up here the System Center Config Manager console. And currently you'll see that I'm working in the Assets and Compliance workspace. So let's shift on over to the Administration workspace. Anything that is really administrative, in this case discovery methods, is part of the configuration of our environment, so it's a very administrative action. So under Overview is where I'm at now, but we want to do Hierarchy configuration. And there you'll see we have boundaries and boundary groups and addresses. We've got discovery methods. So let's go ahead and click on Discovery Methods. And we'll see a number of them listed here. And these are the ones that we've started to discuss. Active Directory Forest Discovery, Group Discovery, Active Directory System Discovery, User Discovery. There's the Heartbeat Discovery, which we want to make sure is enabled. And that's the one that rediscovers the various different existing clients in the environment. And then Network Discovery. So you'll see some of these are currently enabled, whereas some are disabled. But that's completely configurable by us. So starting with Active Directory, let's look at System Discovery, because it's one of the most straightforward. Let's go ahead and open that up by double-clicking or choosing Properties. And you'll see that it's enabled. So the enabling or disabling is just a basic checkbox. Now we have to, and this is a slip-up that people make sometimes, they think if I just enable it, then it will query my Active Directory. Well, no, it won't. What I have to do is put in here an LDAP path to a particular container in my Active Directory that I want to query. And we do that by clicking the little yellow sun button. Anytime you see that button in a Config Manager console, it means new. It's like a new button. So if I click that, I can put in an Active Directory container to search. And if I click Browse, it'll let me browse through my domain environment. So I can either choose the entire domain, or I can choose a specific OU within that domain. Let's go ahead and click OK. And you'll see the Active Directory LDAP path placed in there. So that's going to be the starting point for my discovery process. Then I can decide whether it will recurse downward from there through all of the different containers underneath this OU. So I can certainly do that. Discovering objects within Active Directory groups is an option, which basically says, look, if I come across any groups, expand the groups and see if we're discovering any systems in there that we may not have discovered. It's a possibility. Now, the Active Directory discovery account, what account are we using? It has to have read permission to the AD if it's going to do this. So the computer account of the site server might be sufficient. Or we can specify a user account if we wanted to by clicking Set. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm specifying, let's go ahead and click OK, various different Active Directory LDAP paths that when the discovery process runs, it's going to query through and find all computer objects, system objects, and bring them into the Config Manager database as records. Now, I don't really need this one here, the one that I just added, because we already had one for the entire domain, and it is recursive. So I don't really need to be so specific, but that's just how you can go in and manage this particular discovery process. I then have a polling schedule. Occurs every one day at midnight. So every day at midnight is when it reruns the discovery process. I can even come in here and I can specify additional Active Directory attributes that I would like to pull in. So Active Directory maintains a lot of different attributes. You can see them listed here. Like let's say department. So if in Active Directory every computer object or user object has a department field and it's been filled in where we now have an association with computer to department, I could click Add, and it's a way that now when this discovery runs, I'm grabbing that out of Active Directory and I'm adding that information in to our Config Manager database, which means that I can create collections based on these additional attributes. It's quite powerful. I have under the Option tab a number of different options as well that I could configure, like only discover computers that have logged on to a domain in a given period of time, or that have updated their computer account password in a given period of time. So a few options there. So I'm going to go ahead and click Cancel, but those are the options that we have for configuring a discovery process. If I right-click that discovery, I can force it to run now. So if you don't want to wait until the next time period, which was scheduled at midnight, I could force it to run at any time. So I can certainly do that. The same option is going to be pretty much be available for user discovery, group discovery, forest discovery. These are Active Directory discovery methods. Then we have heartbeat discovery, which if I bring up the properties, you'll see not a lot in here. I can sort of do a heartbeat schedule every 1 week. Okay? But other than that, there's not a lot to configure for heartbeat. We just leave it enabled and let it do its job. Network discovery. You'll notice it's currently disabled, and we can check the box to enable it. We specify how much detailed information we're going to bring in, and then we can come through here and define what is it about network discovery that we want to do. Do we want to specify subnets? Click the little sun button here to specify what subnets you want. And you just keep adding them in as a part of your network discovery. Do I want to do domains? And these would be specific DNS domain ranges that we're going to discover over, not specifically Active Directory domains. We can do SNMP communities. So using SNMP, Simple Network Management Protocol, if you have that in the environment, it's a great way to discover computers and some information about those computers. We can specify certain devices for SNMP. We can even do DHCP Discover, where we're taking advantage of the DHCP database of information about computers on the network. And then, of course, our schedule. When do we want to run this network discovery? Go ahead and click Cancel. So a number of different ways to perform discovery. Once we run the discovery, we will start to see, if I go under Assets and Compliance, go to Devices, I'll start to see devices popping up in here. Notice that some of these devices are not clients. Some of them are. Here's one called Win7a that has the Config Manager client installed. So we can see some information there. Others say no, they're not a client. What that means is that's simply a computer that was discovered by one of the discovery runs. And it's probably discovered in Active Directory because we have network discovery disabled. So it's probably discovered in AD, but it does not have a client installed. And you'll see a bunch of them like that. And so that's what we have to work with after we run discovery. And once we do that, we have to figure out, well, how are we actually going to come in here and get the client installed? But that's for a different demo. So discovery is all about getting in there and finding every single network-based device that we can, either through the AD or by scanning the network.